Hey, what's going on everyone? It is Ephialtes the Demon back here, and I'm attempting something new today. Gonna do a Code Vein 2 boss ranking video. Just going through the first 16 bosses I'm, like easiest to hardest, first 16 in this video. There'll be another video coming. Now, the first boss that I'm talking about, it's a three-parter, but I'm lumping all three into one, and it is Holly's Pathos. As you see here, I took this one down in like less than 10 seconds, and really there's not much that, like, you couldn't even see what the hell she could do here. I annihilated her so fast. In the second part here, it does take a little bit longer because she puts herself at a distance and makes me fight the ads, but like as you can see from the damage I input, it's still a lot of damage that I'm inputting. These things do hit hard, but I hit harder and faster, so really as soon as I take out these ads, she's not really going to be able to do much. Like, she's not even trying to do anything. Like, just there waiting, comes down to slam, and then boom, like, I just annihilate her quickly. She does stun, but like she had a chance to do mad damage, but no. Like, I think it is the purpose for these Pathos to be punching bags, to be exact, or so to speak. Sorry, English is complicated. This final one is in a graveyard, and really it's not much different. She's maybe a little tankier, but still not by much. Like, she has a little bit more attacks and makes me be on the ropes a little bit more, but still can't really do much of anything. So, yeah, Holly's Pathos takes our spot as the easiest collective boss in Code Vein 2. At number 2, we have this big Malargus named Edward, and don't mind me using like runic blades. I just like found them and I wanted to give them a try. But this guy was like the second boss I fought in my playthrough, and he is meant to be like the first or second boss you fight. So ordinarily he is pretty easy. Like, he's pretty much just like majority of these beginning bosses in this video are just gonna be glorified mini bosses, pretty much. So that's pretty much all he is just a mini boss that they made mandatory to fight, and that's pretty much the gist of why he's on this list, because he is mandatory to fight. So yeah, but really the most troublesome move to deal with is easily his charge when you're like up close. But aside from that, like, he's really not much to deal with. Just I don't do much damage because it's just early game. But his attacks are easy enough to dodge, and he's also capable to be backstabbed. So, with all that being said, he's still an easy bout. Even if he can like smack you around a bit, you're not gonna have much issue with him. I will say though that the fact that every single boss has a scream attack to make you back off is kind of annoying, but what can you do, I guess. So in my number 3 spot, I'm putting the Ravenous Predator. It's pretty much just a giant lizard stuck inside these mines, vomits up and slams its head on the ground. It's nothing special. It's only a tad harder than the big Malargus Edward, but it's not by much. Really, if I wasn't so passive and I had more Ichor, I could take this down in like less than 20 seconds. But because I had no Ichor going into it, yeah, so really though, it does pack a mighty punch, but it doesn't have the speed or the HP to back it up, so that's why it's at number 3. And here at my number 4 spot, I'm putting Zenin's Minion. Zenin's Minion really isn't anything special, like, at all. He can get backstabbed, he's pretty easy. He kind of just feels like a basic enemy that's just a little souped up. Like, there's really nothing special to this guy, like, at all. I can't even tell you what his notable moves are exactly. Like, the most notable move was that, like, he slammed his face in the ground, but, like, apart from that, he doesn't do anything really notable at all. But he's a bit harder than the Lizard, a bit harder than Edward, and definitely harder than Holly, so that's why he's getting the 4th easiest spot. Alright, number 5, it's the Darkborn Leader. Somehow this thing managed to take over a complete substation of the Sunken City, which is kind of impressive. Too bad that he can't really back that up with the strength to do it. I will admit, though, that when I first fought him, he did take a couple lives off of me. Like, he was able to get the best of me a couple times, but I was just like learning to fight him because this is the first time I fought this kind of enemy. That being said, he is still squishy. His moves are easily avoidable for the most part, and yeah, I mean, his lightning does hurt though. Like, that's why he's up as high, like this much higher than the other 4. His lightning does hurt a lot, and sometimes it can catch you off guard, and at this point in the game it's early enough where you're not doing crazy amounts of damage, so you can't take him down as fast, or at least I couldn't because I was doing like a dexterity build. Also, I will just say right now that thank God that assimilated teammates, or just teammates in general, can still revive you. Otherwise, would have taken me a lot longer to get this kind of footage. Alright, number 6, we have Bernard, the Dead-Eyed Retainer, or whatever. He's the other retainer of the Corroded Scar that we need to fight before we like continue on to the castle or wherever the hell. He doesn't exactly, like, he hits hard, but it's simply because of his lightning. His sword swings are not hard to avoid. It is simply the lightning that follows up majority of his strikes. They linger too long and they always catch you off guard, like right there. Apart from that though, he's kind of squishy, doesn't have a ton of defense, and he is backstabbable as well, I'm pretty sure. So with that being said, he is your typical, he is somewhat typical enemy that is just in the overworld that's just been given boss status because we need more bosses. So he's not that complicated. He just kind of hits a little hard, but he's still not that dangerous to think about. So that's why he gets number 6 billing. Although that one attack where he rains down the electricity is rough, and if I didn't have a partner, I would have had to restart, which would have annoyed the hell out of me. Alright, at the number 7 spot, we have the Resurgence Zealot. This squid-looking bitch is surprisingly kind of tough. Also backstabbable and all that, and kind of squishy. But her moves are not that easy for me personally to read, and are just really annoying to have to deal with. But that might just be pettiness and frustration from an earlier fight I had with this same mob in the Sunken City, I believe it is, on a side quest, which was a lot harder than this version. But I still retain this quote-unquote boss's difficulty in spite of that. So, but let me just say this again, the difficulty starts to ramp up a bit more. So even though, like, I'm saying this is still on the easier side, and we're yet to get to the really difficult bosses. So alright, at number 8, we have the Resurgence Abomination, which, fun fact, is actually the first boss I actually fought in Code Vein 2. And that being said, for being the first boss I fought, Jesus Christ, I struggled a lot. I think I must have died at least 15 times to this thing, but being the stubborn bitch that I am, I powered through and I managed to beat him. It took well over 5 minutes to beat this guy. That's a long time for a first boss. It's a mini boss technically. So that's rough. I don't do much damage. I don't have many heals, and he attacks a bit too fast. And as you can see, I tried to do parries, but maybe I'm just like trash at parrying. But parrying just doesn't feel right in this game, to me, anyways. And maybe it's also stubborn pride on my part as well. I stuck through with the dual blades throughout the entire game because I thought they were very unique and fun. Maybe if I did a strength build instead, this guy would have been a bit easier, but stubborn, I stuck through, and I did eventually beat him, but it was rough in doing so, and it took a lot of revives. I also didn't know what kind of abilities to get yet, and I didn't have that many, so that's why I couldn't do much damage. I only had caster shit, which wasn't doing much. I'm sure if I had proper stuff, then this guy would be a hell of a lot simpler to deal with and wouldn't be ranking up this high. And the only reason why he's still technically within the easy portion, within the top 10 easier bosses of Code Vein, is simply because all the like very important bosses are that much harder and problematic to deal with. So that's why that this guy's only at number 8. But just know that this is where the difficulty kind of starts to skyrocket just a little bit. Alright, kind of at a collective number 9 and 10 spot, I have the Twisted Scout and Twisted Assassin. They're practically the same boss, just the Twisted Scout has 2 of these floating blades, and as you'll see in a second here, the Twisted Assassin has multiple. But pretty much, these bosses do the exact same thing. They throw around their blades and trying to get you off guard, which does happen. I do feel that these bosses aren't as hard as maybe the other ones go, but they are very problematic, as I have fought many of these throughout the game, and they always... These two were just like, maybe I just got lucky with the right string of bullshit, but I'm holding their places in posterity's sake, especially for my number 11 spot, which is where the difficulty really kind of ramps up, because the reason why I'm saying that is because my number 11 spot is the mutated survivor Bernid, or whatever the hell. Essentially the same thing as the last two, but because this guy was a little bit earlier in the game, he's a lot harder to deal with, and I don't have as many tools to deal with him with. And so really it's because of this guy and a couple others that I fought before that my mind is just like, fuck this guy's annoying as hell, especially that attack where he's whirling his blades around. That almost always gets me. This boss can confidently suck a fat one. As far as the mini bosses go, he's one of my least favorite fights in the game. And again, as far as mini bosses go, he is really damn hard in the early game, but mid game and late game, he's not too bad. But he's still harder than all the other like 9 or 10 guys that we talked about before. Even more than the Resurgence Abomination, because that guy had a simple moveset that was easy enough to read. I was just bad. This guy, has a tough moveset that took me a long time to be able to read. So for that reasons is why I'm placing this guy just outside the top 10 easiest bosses of Code Vein 2. And this is where difficulty really starts to kick. Number 12, we have the Medigan or Medigen Remnant. Now, I will admit that maybe there was a little bit of distraction going on because of some bazungas. No, but for real though, this boss, honestly really unique, because this is the first time I had faced this enemy until I had realized that later on in both other areas of the map, this boss does come back as both an enemy in the overworld as well as like one more time as a mini boss. But for its first appearance being here, this was a really good boss fight, I think. Very simple moveset, but difficult to master at first, as well as hitting really hard. Now, I would have thought that being behind it would have been better, but it nullifies that by giving you Toxin, which is a heavy-duty poison. But that's actually a good thing. It makes you have to fight it face on, which I actually do appreciate. With that being said, since the boss's moveset is fairly easier to learn after a little while, and she's kind of easy to stagger and take advantage of. That's a wrong word to use, I'm sorry. But you're able to chain attacks fairly well, and you can get in big damage. So for that reason, that's why she is hitting number 12 spot, which is in the harder realm of the mini bosses. And we're only getting harder from here. Alright, number 13, Zenin Clone 1. This guy's pretty simple, really. Like, he feels just kind of like a basic halberd or axe wielding enemy that has a lot of fire. He's really nothing too crazy, to be honest. Like, he's really just simple to deal with. The fire isn't anything insane to worry about. His attacks aren't hard to dodge. And the arena is nice and spacious, thankfully, so you don't have to worry too much. The fire never really seems to do much damage. It seems like it's more so just like an area of effect that affects the ground, so that it hurts you when you're standing in it. But it's so negligible, you don't really notice it much, but if you do get caught in the wrong kind of bullshit, then it will likely kill you. But out of the Zenin clones, it is the easiest one, but it's still harder than all the other bosses that we've talked about so far. Alright, number 14, we have Zenin clone number 2, Electric Boogaloo. That's kind of funny, I didn't really plan that. But yeah, it's pretty much the same Zenin fight, really, just with some electric type moves and some varied halberd moves to spice it up a little bit. It's a relatively same size room, maybe a little bit bigger, but really it's the same kind of thing. Like, there's no status effects that come with this boss fight, but the electricity does do a little bit more damage than the fire, and that's why he's just a touch harder than the fire clone, and that's why he's number 14. Zenin clone, Electric Boogaloo. Zenin clone 2, Electric Boogaloo is number 14. Thought I was going to talk about Zenin clone 3, didn't you? Nope. Number 15, we have the Remnant of Idris, or whatever the hell it's called. This thing goes by a couple different names. Yeah, I saved my gameplay a little late on this boss fight, but it doesn't really matter. This guy's annoying. Like, really annoying. The only good parts of damage you can get on this thing is its tentacles. And you pretty much have to like bait out attacks for it to land, but a majority of the attacks can knock you away. Like, I don't like this boss at all. It's annoyed me more than a couple different times. Like, I can't excuse this boss. I also can't excuse my skills or lack thereof, because I will admit that it is my fault for getting hit by a lot of this bullshit. But it's still the fact that this boss is stupid difficult. It feels like arbitrary difficulty. It doesn't feel like a fair fight. Like, I even had to summon my wife, Jose, to help beat this enemy, because I just didn't want to deal with a gauntlet of enemies in this goddamn elevator again. And for that reason, he is at number 15. Yeah. And number 16, the absolute hardest of the mini-boss tier of mandatory bosses of Code Vein 2 is Zenin Clone 3. This guy can suck a fat dick. This clone of Zenin has ice abilities, which are probably the most annoying to deal with out of the entire game. Every single move staggers you. It feels like his moveset is completely different, and just all the ice attacks send you flying. Now, maybe it has something to do with my build. I don't really know, and I don't really care. This Zenin clone pissed me off so bad, and it pissed me off even worse when I got to the very end of the game, and I had to replay this boss, and it killed me 10 times before I was able to finally squeak out a victory. But like I said, it's the hardest of the mandatory mini-boss battles. I will be going over all the other boss battles that are actually important and actually feel like real boss battles, because they don't appear in the overworld and for the most part aren't heartless clones of each other. A couple of them are, admittedly, but still, they are all harder than this guy was. And that's saying a lot. But with that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy my first attempt at a boss ranking. I know I'm not very good, and maybe I should write a script to help me with this. But I don't know, I was just kind of excited. I wasn't thinking really. But I hope with that you guys do find it in yourselves to enjoy this video for what it is. If you have different opinions, please let me know. Don't start a war with me, because this is just one man's opinion and his experiences. If you have different ones, we can talk about it in the comments, or not, whatever you want to do. If you did enjoy, please be sure to like, comment, share this video with your friends, and please do subscribe, as I would very much appreciate it. The next part will be out when I get it done, and with that being said, my name is Ephialtes, and happy nightmares, everybody.